Good morning, students. As we have discussed in our previous videos, that in this series we are going to discuss how to interrelate the seemingly unrelated things in medicine, right? Now, in this video, I have taken up the topic of how exactly high protein diet leads to higher GFR, right? For that, we need to understand a very important mechanism in medicine and physiology, that is tubulo-glomerular feedback, right? For that, first of all, we need to draw a basic diagram of nephron and try to understand how exactly tubulo-glomerular feedback works, right? Let's first of all draw a nephron. RPCT. Then let's draw loop of Henle. Then thin ascending limb, thick ascending limb, right? Then DCT. Then collecting ducts. This is roughly what our nephron looks like, right? Then we will draw afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole. Right? Now, the blood will come, gets filtered, and this filtrate will enter PCT, then descending limb, ascending limb, and will finally reach over here, macula densa. These are tall columnar cells, which is a part of actually JG apparatus, right? So what this macula densa does is that it closely monitors the solution, the filtrate which is reaching it, right? It will see what is the sodium content of the solution it is getting, right? If it feels that somehow the sodium content is less, right, then it will cause vasodilation of this afferent arteriole, right, and the GFR will increase. If somehow it feels that the sodium content is more, then it will cause vasoconstriction of the afferent arteriole, right? Now, how exactly the system works, what's the mechanism behind it, that we will discuss and understand in this, right? Now, let's magnify this thing. Let's magnify this portion of PCT. Let's draw it over here, right? Drawing magnification. For the sake of magnification, I'm drawing it over here, right? Let's consider this side as the basolateral side and this side as the luminal side, right? Luminal side means in this side we are having urine, and in this side we are having blood vessels, right? So on the basolateral side of PCT, what we are going to have? We are going to have a sodium potassium pump, which will pump sodium outside and potassium inside, right? Since the sodium is being pushed outside because of the sodium potassium pump, what we are going to get over here is that the sodium level will be less, right? Now there is a gradient in the filtrate is going from this side, right? And the filtrate is having the same amount of sodium which is present in plasma, 285 milliosmoles, right? So there is a gradient. Here we are having normal sodium, here the sodium level is normal, and here the sodium level is decreased. So there is a gradient, and the sodium will use that gradient to pass through, but it will also take the other constituents with it, like amino acids, like phosphates, like glucose, okay. So the sodium potassium pump is pumping the sodium out. The sodium ion concentration is decreased inside the cell. There is a gradient. Since the luminal side has got normal sodium and this side has less sodium, so there is a gradient. But other substances use this gradient to pass into the PCT. That's why we say PCT is metabolically the most active region of your nephron. And if some injury happens to PCT, or if these ions get damaged, we call it Fanconi syndrome. And severe cases of Fanconi syndrome are incompatible with life. Right now, over here, now suppose, right? You understood this thing? Now suppose you take some kind of high protein diet, right? Now if you take high protein diet, that protein will be ultimately get broken down into amino acids, right? And these amino acids will travel in PCT, and when more of these amino acids enter inside, they are going to take the sodium ion along with them, right? More amino acids enter, more sodium ion will enter the cell. That means we have got less sodium ion over here, less sodium ion over here, and less sodium ion enter the macula densa. Now let's see what is happening inside the macula densa. Let's magnify this thing. What is happening inside the macula densa? Okay. Now, over here in our thick ascending limb, we have got ion channel, one sodium, one potassium, and two chloride. Right? One sodium, one potassium, and two chloride ion channel. And since this thing is extending up to macula densa, even in macula densa, we have got this ion channel only. One sodium, one potassium, and two chloride. Okay, so because this is a very famous ion channel, you know, all those loop diuretics, furosemide, act on this ion channel, right? And you can guess, if we block this channel, what is going to happen? Potassium will go out and we will have hypokalemia. Now, this ion channel is present in macula densa also, right? Now, this sodium enters, and then we have got sodium potassium pump over here. Okay. Now let's take a scenario in which more sodium comes over here. Suppose more blood is coming, right? So more blood is coming, more is getting filtered. We have got more sodium enters the macula densa. More sodium enters over here, right? If more sodium enters over here, this sodium potassium ATPase pump is going to work more, and what it is going to create more in additional quantities, right? It is going to create more of a substance called adenosine. Now this adenosine is an interesting substance, right? It causes vasodilation in our coronary circulation and our cerebral circulation, but it causes vasoconstriction in renal arteries, afferent arteriole. So it is going to cause vasoconstriction. So let's run the sequence again. More fluid comes from here, more fluid gets filtered, more fluid means more sodium. This more sodium enters macula densa, right? Through this ion channel, one sodium, one potassium, two chloride, right? More sodium enters over here. This sodium potassium ATPase pump is going to work overtime, and what we will get? More of adenosine, which will cause vasoconstriction of afferent arteriole, and then less fluid is going to come, right? As simple as that. If less fluid comes, right, that means less sodium will enter macular densa. This is going to work a lot less. If this works a lot less adenosine will be created, and if less adenosine is created, then we are going to have vasodilation, which will increase the GFR. So this is how this tubulo-glomerular feedback works. Now suppose if someone takes lot more protein, then what we are going to see? This amino acid will take lot more sodium along with it into the cell, right? If it takes lot more sodium along with it into the cell, then you will have lot less sodium reaching over here, lot less sodium reaching inside this cell. So this sodium potassium ATPase pump is going to work a lot less. If the sodium potassium ATPase pump works a lot less adenosine will be synthesized, and you will have increase in GFR, right? So if someone asks from you next that why in high protein diet you get increase in GFR, the reason is simple, right? In high protein diet, more amino acids enter the PCT cells, and when more amino acid enter the PCT cell, they carry sodium along with them, and less sodium enters macula densa through this ion channel, 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride. Less sodium enters, so less working of sodium potassium ATPase pump, less adenosine is synthesized. If less adenosine is synthesized, it means less vasoconstriction, which means vasodilation. So in case of vasodilation, you will have increase in GFR, right? So hopefully this concept is clear. Hopefully this class or this video has helped you in better understanding of GFR. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.